Says we are live, so we'll give it a couple of minutes and let everything catch up. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How are you?
I am living the dream as long as you don't wake me up.
There you go. All right. So advertisement looks like we're kicking on.
Yay. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Got all the usuals and some new characters out there. That's awesome. We appreciate y'all so much. We're just going to kick off some stuff and, got a couple of questions, that I've been asked. And I've actually seen, I think C. Kim was asking it and stuff like that. But one of the main questions is, and I know that you've experienced this too, KS, but what are you seeing with guns and ammo right now in your area?
Guns are extremely short supply, especially less expensive firearms. And a lot of the places around my area don't really carry things like the G2C or G3, but a lot of people come in and ask for them, and no distributor has them at all. The things like that are completely out. So a lot of the kind of $400 and under firearms are completely cleaned out. You might occasionally have some that are in the $500 to $600 or $700 mark, and then some of the higher end ones, but that's pretty much it. No ARs, really not much in the way of shotguns, and ammo's pretty thin. I haven't seen 9mm run out, at least where I am, but some of the bigger box stores, from what people are telling me, they are completely cleaned out and they have lots of limits and that sort of thing. It's thin, and it's going to be thin for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, Texas Gun Experience they had gotten in some M&P 1522s. I think they got in like 12 of them and stuck them out on Saturday. And I was there for, I don't know, about 2 or 3 hours with my buddy, picking out guns and stuff. And they sold 12 M&P Sport 2s in 2 hours. I mean, people were just grabbing them. What they do have in stock is they just got them in today. I was up there today. They got in 20 armor lights, the original armor lights. And these have like a crimson trace on them. And I think you get 2 mags or something like that. And they got 20 of those in. So, I mean, they do have them, but man, stuff is scarce. And just like you said, with the less expensive guns like the Glocks and M&Ps and stuff like that, I mean, they're gone. Even the Shadow systems, they've got like 22s. They've got a bunch of like bolt guns, some 22 rifles, stuff like that. And they do have some PDWs and a couple of ARs, higher end ARs, and they've got a $6,000 or $6,500 H&K. But even the scopes, like your basic scopes and red dots and stuff, man, they're flying off the shelf too.
Yeah. TN is saying everyone is buying up everything they can. I think to an extent that is definitely true. Another thing we're seeing a lot more of is training, which is a good thing. I'm excited for that. We've got a couple of new to shoot programs that we can do for obviously newer shooters, that a little bit of classroom time and a little bit of range time, just to get people acclimated with the idea of firearms and shooting and safety and all that kind of thing. And we're having a hard time keeping up with the demand on that because there are only so many trainers and time and lanes available. But so that's a good thing. I mean, I welcome new shooters without question, but I'm a huge proponent of get some training. If nothing else, get some fundamentals and absolutely get the safety rules drilled into your head. Keep everybody around you safe, and then learn how to use the firearm. So I think that's good, but yeah, I mean, it's insanely busy, hopefully things will calm down, mellow out a little bit, because it does make it hard for some of us who are looking for firearms to have some fun with, to get a hold of anything.
Yeah, and my buddy, he's 50 years old or 51 years old, and him and his wife, and they just bought their very first firearm. That's why I went up there on Saturday, and of course. She's a veteran, so they were able to get the blue label program and got that Glock 45 MOS because they knew they wanted a Glock, but they didn't know which one. So I was kind of showing them some stuff, and they had one. They'd just gotten it in, hadn't even really put it out yet, So we were able to get that for them, and it's got the AmeriGlow sights. I mean, it's a really nice setup, and it helped having the DD214, so they could use the blue label. But they're excited about it, and I'm going to take them shooting and all that other stuff. But yeah, even like the license to carry classes and stuff, they're all full. I mean, people are really signing up, like you were saying, and taking some extra classes. And I mean, that's great. And if we look at it this way, and the bad thing is it took looting and all this scary events that we've been going through, and all that to kind of get people to realize that they need to own a firearm at least. It's bad that had to happen, but in a good way, it's good that a lot of those people are coming to our side. Now, will those just end up in a nightstand? Who knows? But hopefully they will exercise, their true Second Amendment and go out and start using them and enjoying them and being safe with them.
Sure. Well, and I would hope, and this is probably wishful thinking in a lot of circumstances, but I would hope that some of those folks would be a little bit more open-minded in regards to not just the firearm, not that basic human need, that kind of impulse to say, oh, I need a firearm because something might happen. I mean, that's just a human impulse. That's not really changing an ideology of going from I'm anti-gun, why do we need firearms or anything like that? And then, slowly moving over and saying, okay, I understand why people want firearms. We are our best first line of defense, and not only for ourselves, but for our country. And I would hope that some people would start to understand that a little bit better. And guns don't signify evil and violence and things like that in a lot of ways. I mean, sometimes they're fun and camaraderie and sport and collection and all those things. And it's a huge, I think, positive part of our culture, and hopefully more people will realize that.
Yeah. And what's funny is I was actually listening to these group of guys talking, and the one guy was like, and he was in the gun store, and the one guy was like, well, I don't know why you need a gun. And he's like, well, everybody should have a gun, da 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 da. And he was like, well, I know that I need a gun, but I don't know why everybody else needs a gun. And I was like, what? It was the same guy he's like talking out of both sides of his face. And I'm like, I didn't get involved. That wasn't my conversation, but you never know. I mean, like I said, hopefully a lot of the liberal anti-gun people do jump on board. And as far as the ammunition, what are you running into in your areas with just ammo in general?
Plenty of 9mm. That's not really an issue. Certainly a fair amount of 40, because not many people get the 40, at least in my neck of the woods. A little bit of 45, 380 is kind of hard to come by. So we're kind of seeing that in small waves. Same thing with 22. But we're not seeing people come in when we do have 22 and bulk buying or anything. I think it's just they're going for the bigger calibers, things like that. Very little 12 gauge ammo around at this time. Now I know Centerfire really only stocks slugs because that's all they allow people to shoot. But so ammo is kind of hit and miss. As far as the rifle calibers, we've always got 223, 5.56. That's never an issue. A little bit of 300 blackout lying around from time to time, and then random things like 45 long Colt, stuff like that will sit around. But aside from that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and they had pallets of 9mm, and people were coming in just buying case and case and case. And the buddy of mine that bought the gun, he's like, well, how much ammo should I need? And I was like, you need as much as you can get. I mean, just to have it. And so he was thinking a couple of boxes. Well, I ended up getting him I think he got 8 boxes of self-defense ammo, and got a case of 115 just target ammo, because I was like, man, they're not just going to have cases laying around. I mean, when I got there, it was like probably half stacked. I was there for a couple of hours, and I mean, it was down almost to the wood. So I was like, you go over there and grab a case. And so he did. But I mean, and they were even talking about, they were probably going to run out. They were going to have to get it from somewhere, buy it from someone to get it in, because their manufacturer, or the ammo manufacturers, can't ship it out to everybody as fast as they need to. So, and I'm not telling people this to scare them and make them run out and buy ammo, but I mean, that's why it's always better to have it. and just not need it than not, need it and not have it. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would say, especially in times like this, get what you need, a tiny bit more perhaps, but don't clear the shelf, because that denies the next guy the opportunity to get a little bit of ammo too. So yeah, Keith was asking what's the EDC of choice these days. So what are you carrying right now?
Believe it or not, I carried something a little different today. I carried the Glock 19X. So I've carried it a couple of times, or for probably about a week or so. The Glock 19X custom one with the TLR7A flex on there, and the comp, and of course, and I carried it the appendix. So, but that's what I was carrying as a Glock.
Right on. I saw that video of yours with that flex light. That thing's a little bit bananas.
The TLR9.
Yeah, it is long.
That thing is it's pretty insane how big. No, this is the 7A, so this is the smaller one.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was a little much for my taste, but you're certainly bright, if nothing else. Keith, right now, it's funny. And Big Johnson will probably take credit for this, but I've got a couple of Sig Micro, the Sig Zero red dots. So I threw one on my XL, my 365 XL, and that's been on me now for a couple of weeks solid. I've been shooting it a fair amount. It's a fun gun to shoot. That sight, I mean, I couldn't run over it with a car, I'm sure, no doubt about that. But for sort of casual EDC, if you will, which would be what I would classify a lot of us would experience, it seems to do well. It's held zero. It's held its brightness. So I mean, it passes all of the basics. Sorry, hang on a sec, guys. That's the other work thing going on, but anyway, it passes all of the basic boxes that I would want. So I got a couple of them. I actually put the other one on an optics ready Hellcat, because I actually like that gun. I like that gun better than the original 365. It fills my hand a little bit better. I don't like the trigger on it as much. It's a heavier trigger, which I'm not a fan of, but I can whittle that down. So yeah, a couple of optics ready firearms.
Yeah, I will definitely. And not that I own either one, but I've had my hands on both, and I actually do prefer the Hellcat size versus the regular 365. You're right; it does kind of fill up the hand a little better, and if you have smaller hands, probably both of those are going to be fine. But if I had to have that small of a gun, I would prefer the Hellcat. And yeah. I've shot it, the Hellcat, not the regular 365, because if you'll remember, I was going to shoot Harry's and it broke in my hand. And then I threw it in the trash can, and he wouldn't let me put that video up. But anyway, I shot the Hellcat, and I think I was like 40. I shot Humbles, and I think I was about 40 yards away, and I was shooting whatever those USPSA silhouette steels were, and I was banging it. I mean, it shot fine. Now that was without an optic, but this one was optic ready, just didn't have an optic on it.
That's pretty good at 40 yards.
Yeah, I was just at 40, but it was it was one of the bigger steels. It wasn't the tiny one, but
10 foot by 10 foot.
No. But I think it was at least 30, 35 or 40 yards. I think Humble said it was 40, but I can't remember. But I was just sitting there, it was just kind of not rapid shots, but just a really good tempo, and it was just bang, 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 bang.
Well, there you go. Baldy, Centerfire is a SIG dealer, so we get stuff like that in fairly often. We got a big pile of the zero red dots, so I grabbed a couple.
Yeah. I played with the first. Now, when SIG had it, they had it on a gun. They were just letting people see it. I was kind of playing around with it with the little texture on the side, and the guy was like, "Oh, well, this one is the prototype because they're not officially out yet," and it lit up and everything, so it worked. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like you said, I don't know if you just beat the crap out of it, if it would snap or something, but like you said, for just doing a normal carry and stuff like that, probably should be fine.
Yeah. So OH Gear Guy was saying, are you going to carry the Staccato 2 eventually? No, I don't carry a $2,000 gun. I wouldn't do that on a bet. Plus, I don't like the super heavy, real big guns. It just doesn't work well for me. It's not practical. So I prefer the smaller, although reasonable capacity anymore. I've moved away from things like the Shield. I've gone with a little bit more capacity now. So I've slowly learned. I'm a very slow learner. And Cody, OWB holsters for the XL. Actually, I went with Vetter. Vetter's OWB, because they really make them for a 3 o'clock hold, or like anywhere from 2:30 to about 4. They're super comfortable with the wider pancake, clips on them. It's incredibly comfortable. I love it. Just get a good belt and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I carried a 1911 forever. A full size, heavy duty 1911, and I carried it 3 o'clock. With just a shirt over it, and it depends on the body type, and I guess what you're used to carrying. At first, I kind of felt like I was leaning a little bit, but then after that, it just kind of was second nature. But it's it's whatever someone's used to. We got to give. This is actually a pretty neat little thing. I wanted to give him a little kudos. He said he is new to guns, and he just bought a P07 and changed to the medium backstrap for the first time. Made a huge improvement. Yeah, DC, that's a really good when you do have the options to change, add a little bit of girth or take it away or whatever to fit your hands. So backstraps are definitely a good thing on guns. What do you think on that, Chaos?
Well, first, welcome to guns. That's awesome. Hopefully you will find it very exciting and a lot of fun. Great way to have a good time with your buddies, but also learn a very useful and potentially very needed skill. So that's awesome. As far as, backstraps, anytime you can change the feel of a firearm to fit your needs, the modularity of a firearm, I think it's a great thing. So I'm a big fan. There are many firearms. I've got one sitting next to me that's not nearly as flexible. It just happens to fit just fine in my hand, but for a lot of people, it doesn't. So it's nice to be able to do that, and also be able to do it on your own, and change things out and play around with that. So congratulations, and again, welcome.
Yes. Welcome to Guns, DC. We appreciate you. And you will enjoy them. Let's see here. There was another question. I think I missed it. Pistol Pete saying a 1911 with alloy frame will carry well. Yeah. Now this was the one I was carrying was a heavy duty steel, and like a lot of like KS mentioned and other people mentioned, would you carry like a really expensive gun? Would you carry that? Because if something happens, it is going to be taken. Yeah. They're going to put it in evidence and all that good stuff. So that's something that you need to be aware of, like, do you want your Wilson Combat EDC, 9 or something to be, sitting in a locker for a while, or, Glocks or P10Cs or something like that? What would you feel comfortable if something happened? And that is one reason I've always said, to have 2 of the same gun, if possible, if something like that were to happen, or if it went down, you would have a backup or something that you're used to and familiar with. But what's your opinion on that, carrying expensive guns? I know you kind of mentioned a little bit, but
yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. That's just me. Baldy, I thought you were saying you wanted one of mine that I personally own, and absolutely not. But we can talk later about what's still in stock there. I don't know if there are any left, but if they are, I'm happy to sell you one. So anyway, expensive firearms. No, there's so many options that are great, and STIs are tremendous. They're incredible guns. I would never part with mine, but I also wouldn't carry them for a couple of reasons. First off, again, I wouldn't want to potentially lose a very expensive firearm that could be passed down to family members, that sort of thing. But then also, I wouldn't want one to touch a holster either. Remember, I'm more of a collector. Yeah. There are some firearms that are tools. That XL can be in a holster. I can beat the crap out of that. My Glock 26, Glock 43, things like that are carry guns. They are tools. They are meant to be beat up, dirty, and run, and that's it. So it's totally fine. And then STI, whether it's the C2 or the Combat Master, the P, whatever it is. Sorry, man. Those are enjoy guns. Not quite look at but don't touch, wipe with a diaper type thing, but still ones that I would want to keep in pristine condition. And right now they are, thankfully, knock on wood. I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean that's also that you mentioned that, like when you get good holsters, it's just going to wear at the trigger guard, where it should. It shouldn't damage the frame or anything like that when you get a CAD, a nice holster, not just a fold over or something like that. However, I can understand, not scratching up a gun, but that's another thing, with the nicer guns and stuff like that, when you get like hard chrome, stainless steel, stuff like that, they really don't show wear. You're going to get surface, scratches here and there, but it's not like it's going to gouge a big black scratch in it or anything like that because it's hard chrome. So, and I know that they make the STIs in that, with the stainless steel slides and stuff. And, those would be pretty cool. But yeah, there's just not a lot of people that are going to carry that large of a gun, especially every day. They might carry it for like a barbecue gun or something like that, like, hey, look at me. But I don't think it's going to be a lot of the everyday carries. Now, on the smaller ones, like that small double stack, I guess it's the P or whatever, I could see people, and I know people who carry those, even the appendix. So it just depends on what you're used to and what you like.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true.
And but the funny thing is, like you said, if they ever, or like we were saying, if they ever take your gun, it's literally going to be thrown in a evidence drawer, probably tagged, but with a bunch of other guns where they're banging around on each other. So it's not going to be treated like you would treat it. They're going to beat the crap out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's see here.
Peter K is saying, how about aluminum frame?
That's what I was just fixing to light up. What do you think about them?
I'm fine with it. Or alloy or whatever it is. I mean, like the PO1, I mean, that's an alloy frame. And it's a wonderful firearm, but the alloy is going to make it a little bit lighter than pure steel. So a little bit of an advantage or disadvantage, depending on how you look at that. But no, I don't have a problem with alloy guns. Still not necessarily. Now, PO1 I'd carry. That wouldn't be a big deal if I had one that I wanted to holster. Again, the PO1 is another one that's a collection gun to me, so it will not ever be holstered. But if I had a spare that I wanted to carry, that would be perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah, alloy frames are fine. I have no issue with them. It's whichever you prefer. Some people on the alloy frames, even compared to a polymer frame or a steel frame, some people, and I've even seen this, and when I shot my PO1 for the first time, I was like, this was a little snappier, and I use that term snapping. I'm not recoil sensitive, but I'm trying to compare it like just shooting a gun, even one-handed, shooting this gun, shooting that gun. I did notice the PO1 was just a tad snappier than a polymer frame gun and then an all steel frame gun. So not meaning I can't handle it. It's just a different feel. But once you shoot it, hella mag through it, it's no big deal. But here's the comment of the night.
I actually laughed at that a minute ago.
Yeah, he got his barbecue gun. He got a 686 all polished up. So it's his gay barbecue gun. So he is ready to go now. So
well done, Josh. Well done.
Yeah. Hey, man. Like I said, got to have something. But yeah, when you're around with your buddies drinking beer or something, and you're barbecuing or smoking or something like that, smoking briskets and stuff. It's we used to have it where guys would bring over their custom guns and wear them on their hip. That was like 20 years ago or something or longer. So. We've all been there and done that. So, but of course, Josh is a lot younger than us.
Yeah. So Scott P79 is saying someone is trying to sell an OD Green PO1 on Gunbroker, and they've got a starting bid at $1,200. I'll tell you, it's a beautiful gun, but that is bananas. I wouldn't give that person the time of day, even if that was the gun that I wanted more than anything else on the planet. That's gross to me. Sorry. I mean, you guys might disagree with me, but I can't support that.
I can't. Well, and here's the deal. They did that first edition of the OD Green, and they said that was all they're going to do. So those were really collectible and very rare. And then they did a relaunch of them. So that's probably a Gen 2 or, and it's that wasn't that much more for an original or for the regular PO1. So yeah, he's just trying to double his price there. So yeah, I would be out. I wouldn't give him the time of day either.
Yeah.
Here you go. It's a good question. KS Gun Guy, do you think others will adopt the tungsten polymer frames?
Good question. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more options like that, especially on popular polymer firearms, whether it's Smith, Glock, whomever. I think that'd be pretty cool. especially to add the weight, because I love that X5 Legion. But I imagine there's probably more manufacturing cost, some tooling that might be a little bit different since you're working with a slightly different material, although I don't know that for sure. So I don't know how realistic that would be, but I wouldn't rule it out. You might see some people take note. I mean, the X5 Legion's done very well. It's got a good reputation. So others might climb on board and do something different as well.
I think many people will. Either with the alloy, the tungsten, doing something because they raised the carry optic limit. So for like Glock, for of course SIG, and some other manufacturers, where you can change the frame out easily, I think some people will start making those. Now, is it going to explode and take off? Who knows? But I think there will be more options coming out in those. So, because that's the thing. If you've got a good gun belt and you've got a good holster, and you can distribute the weight on your body well or carry, heavy guns really, or big guns really aren't that big of a deal. It's just if they're comfortable to you. One person might like it, one person might not. But, hell, if you're considering carrying a larger gun with more capacity or things like that, if you're in a free state, I say try it. Big guns aren't that bad. I know little skinny guys. I know a guy that's he's like 155 pounds, and he carries a full-size Glock 34 appendix, which my P10 and my 19 equals a 34 too, but I'm a big guy, and he carries it like it's nothing. So it just depends on if it fits you and if you can pull it off.
True. Very true.
But yeah, and this is another question that I had that was asked, and I don't know if anybody's asking it here, but do you see the prices of guns and ammo coming down anytime soon?
So I haven't seen the prices go up. Now I'm not really looking around online. I'm sure online there's probably a wider spectrum or wider gap, I guess, range, whatever. But locally, and I can only really speak for Centerfire, I have not seen prices go up. And I think some of the smaller mom and pop places are really trying not to do that. Yeah. Because that ultimately you might make a little bit more money selling some things during panic times, what have you. But I think you burn some bridges doing that as well. So it's not good for the community.
No, I totally agree with that. I've seen some gun, not my ones that I truly go to, but I've been in others, and they're price gouging with ammo and guns, and it's pretty sad. And I'm looking at the gun and I'm like, that's a $500 gun, and they're selling it for $625, and I'm like, really? So they're definitely taking advantage of the situation. But we are kind of in a political time. We've got an election coming up and stuff like that. So I don't see it. I don't see ammo or guns coming down in price till after the election. So we still got a ways away. So, and this is every time during some sort of an election, we always have this bump up. But we've had the COVID, we've had the looting, we've had now the presidential election. So we've had a lot of stuff that's kind of built up to this a lot quicker than I thought it was going to happen. But I don't see it happening, and I don't see it going down until after the election.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
that's my opinion. It could change. I mean, stuff can happen, but yeah, I wouldn't buy shit from Cheaper Than Dirt. I don't buy crap from those assholes. I bought stuff way back in the day when they were normal, but then when they started price gouging, what was it, like 6 or 7 or 8 years ago or something like that? I think it was after
Sandy Hook.
Yes, it was after Sandy Hook. After they did that on those mags, trying to sell mags for like $60 and all this stupid stuff, I was like, are you high? I mean, I haven't bought jack from them since.
Yeah, and the irony is it's cheaper than dirt.
Yeah. Let's see here. Have you seen the brass backstraps and brass magazine base plates for the Canics? Hopefully they will start making them for the other distributors. As a lot more weight to polymer pistols.
I would say that definitely would add some weight. Now, so Fina, you might disagree with me, but to me that would make it less balanced because you'd have a lot of weight in the grip, but not as much weight up front or even on the top to a degree. Although top should be a little bit lighter. I prefer to have more weight distributed out front because I really want, especially for range guns, competition guns, things like that, I really want that to compensate for that recoil and keep that muzzle down as much as possible. But I can see the advantage to having a little bit more weight in the grip.
And see, I kind of thought the exact same thing that you're describing, because when, I got the Lock brass, the heavy 9-ounce brass weight grips. And I was like, man, this is, with the mag and, the base plate and everything. I mean, I'm going to have everything at the rear. It's kind of like loading a pickup truck too high and, the thing's doing a wheelie. So I thought, well, this is going to be weird. So, I gripped it and I just let it rip. And what was weird about it, I mean, it actually shot really good. It shot really flat. And it kind of, I don't know if it's because I had more weight back there. I felt like I could get even a more secure grip on it, if that even makes sense. It just felt like, I didn't have, like, my hands weren't moving as much, like they were kind of weighted down. It's weird to explain, but it actually helped. So, and I've seen, like, Humble and some other guys where they, put the tungsten guide rods in it, in the front to weight it down, and they put the brass and all this other stuff. But I actually really liked it. I didn't think that it would be, I thought it would just be goofy, but
right.
I actually liked it. So.
No, Bald was saying, the X5 has the weight in the grip, and that's true. The thing is, though, it's also, remember, that barrel is extremely heavy, and so is the guide rod. So you've got a fair amount of weight going a fair distance out. I mean, it's whatever, a 5-something inch barrel, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that weight was really to balance it out, because in the original X5, that grip was, those SIG grips weigh nothing. I mean, they're kind of cheap, pretty cheap polymer. So. I think they were trying to just kind of even that out a little bit. Now on the Legion, it might be a little excessive, some would say, but since there's weight everywhere, I guess it doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah. One thing that, that I've seen, or, that of course it's kind of been around for a long time, but if you're wanting to test a gun, even a Glock or something like that, to see if you might want like a tungsten guide rod or something like that for some front weight, a quick way to do it is just put a flashlight on the front, so you can hang it down there, and that's going to give you a little bit of that sensation. Because with a comp and a flashlight, I mean, it's like stupid flat on any gun for me. But that's just another way to test to see if you might want to spend the money, because those tungsten guide rods are not cheap.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you see some channels only shoot with lights on their firearms. Sorry, little secret. Sorry, I gave it away. Probably shouldn't have done it.
Well, if you knew where I was going with that, I was actually going to kind of open that bag of cats, but I was like, I'll be the nice guy and hold back. But absolutely.
No, I won't hold back, because that drives me nuts. If you're testing a light, put the light on. But if you're not testing a light, shoot the damn gun without it. That's what it really does.
I'll even give you something different. Okay. I actually saw, and he kind of gave it away, but it was a flashlight on the bottom, and he never lit it up. It was never lit up while he was shooting it. I'm not that guy that's gonna, say who they are, but there were no batteries in it. There was actually pennies in it. Because when he took the light off, because he was doing the video and he took the light off, you could hear it go ching ching, like a change bank. And batteries won't do that.
Interesting.
And so he was really weighting it down, because that's one thing he was talking about in the video. Like, this is so flat. He wasn't running a comp or anything. And I'm not saying it wasn't flat. I mean, you can make them flat with a grip, but there was a little extra weight in that light, because you could hear it jingling. And then when he set it down, it was a thud. I mean, it was loud when he dropped it on the table. So I think he had a little loaded up there, like the old baseball bat where they put the lead, poured lead in them.
Yeah.
A little bit of that stuff, but
it's funny. Randy is saying heavier guns absorb recoil better no matter where the weight is, and I do agree with that. Absolutely. In fact, it's a conversation I'm sure many of us have had with newer gun people fairly often. When they look at a small firearm, they think, "Oh, I bet that's so much easier to shoot. It's smaller. I can really grip that thing," especially female shooters. I hear that fairly often, and it's more, you have to kind of back them up and say, believe it or not, physics takes over here. So if you've got more weight, it's going to absorb more of that recoil, or they often say kickback or things like that. But that bigger, heavier firearm might be a little harder to hold on to, but it is going to be a softer shooting firearm. So it's always that give and take. The smaller the firearm, the easier to carry for a lot of people, but it's going to be a lot more snappy. It's going to beat you up more at the range. So that's the price you pay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think whatever, if you just want to try it, I mean, throw a flashlight on it and just try it. Plus I think flashlights on nightstand guns or even some carry guns are a really good option because you want to be able to see what you potentially would shoot at. You just don't want to, shoot down there, but I still recommend carrying a pocket flashlight either way. But, I, there's people that have done some weird stuff to guns. I've done weird stuff to guns. So I say just do what you want to do and then try it out. If it works for you, fine. If it doesn't, fine. But, on the heavier guns, I really like the heavier guns or, some weight on the guns, even with transitions, because sometimes if you try, for me, if I go from one target to another target and it seems really, really light, the gun does, I can, like you're swinging real fast, I can actually just blow past it. So I'm like, whoa. So it's just weird. It's, but, and of course the, polymer does absorb a lot, but, somebody had a question and they were talking about why use, it went flying by, but it was why use, and he was talking about Loctite, why use like red Loctite.
Yeah, thread locker versus blue rock set. I think it was rock set versus blue thread locker or whatever.
Yeah, rock set will never freaking move. I mean, you got to break that shit off there.
You can soak it off. It dissolves in water, although you have to be careful of rust if you do that. But yeah, I would prefer just a blue thread locker myself.
Yeah, I actually use rock set on my my cherry bombs just for the suppressor because I want that to stay on there. I don't want to have it pop loose with a hot suppressor and then have the cherry bomb come off in the suppressor. So, and it's got the socket on the front. So even with rock set, you can put a socket on it and you can bust it loose. I've done it twice already. So even with rock set, but yeah, they all have their place, but definitely don't use red or rock set on something that you're intending to take off really quickly or quick, coming up, because once it locks on there, it's locked on there.
Right.
Anything that's piquing your interest? I know you might not be able to get it, but is there anything out there that's kind of getting you excited or like, oh, wow, I kind of like this or kind of like that?
Yeah. Still the DWXs. We'll see those in 2027. And it will no longer be the DWX. It'll be some other company.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but still, they are definitely on the list. Believe it or not, the Zev Hyper Comp, that just looks stupid cool. I love stuff like that, so I definitely want to try that out. And then there might be one or two other smaller things, but other than that, I don't really have anything on the list. And I'm not actively looking for stuff right now. I'm trying to enjoy some of the stuff I have and kind of beef up some of the things that go along with like comps and stuff like that with things that I already have.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing out there that's just like, other than, I got the POF 308 because I was really excited about, getting a short 308 like I've talked about forever now. So when I was able to grab that, I grabbed that. And I've got a video dropping on it in the morning for after the repair to see, and it was a fluke, but we'll see how y'all can see tomorrow how it does. But there's nothing that I'm seeing that's just super, super exciting right now. Other than the DWX, the full size, but who knows? Like you said, when is it going to come out? Who knows?
Right. Yeah, they're still having problems. And now with a lot of manufacturers, and I've heard from several that they're delayed on getting some of this stuff out simply because of the coronavirus stuff. Yeah. So that's a problem for everyone, unfortunately, in just about every industry. So I don't know if you see this, but Art has a good question. Look at that. There you go. Bang.
I was ahead of you. I had it ready to go.
Nice.
KS Gun Guy, Art's asking, is comps dying down in hype or is it still going strong? Thoughts on comps with concealed carry?
I not for me personally, no. A couple of reasons. First, I don't like the idea of the thing being attached to the barrel, and I know there are some other options as well. In fact, I've got a couple laying next to me, the Killer Innovations ones, and I know Parker Mountain Machines has a couple of options as well. So I get it. But no, I'm not really that big of a fan. And a lot of comps are going to throw a little bit more noise back at you or at the sides of you if there are family members or anything that are close, whatever. I want to do everything I can to preserve hearing. I know sometimes you can't help that in certain circumstances, but it isn't for me. I mean, comps definitely can work, and they can definitely do some pretty amazing things from a physics perspective. But to me, the trade-off isn't worth it. And I may be in the minority there, but that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, and this is where you and I will disagree. I am a big comp guy. I've got 6 of them on carry guns, and I carry all 6 of them. And I shoot them, I test them, and have I had any come loose? I was doing rapid shots the other day on the P10C, and had one come loose that it's been on there for over a year. But literally, I mean, I took it apart, cleaned it all off, set it again, and tightened everything down. It's perfect. And, periodically, and they're in the holsters, but periodically, I'll go from the side even before I do anything, and I'll check it, make sure it doesn't have any play in it. And yeah, because there's a lot of benefits of it. A lot of people that haven't tested comps maybe don't know this, but, they do keep it flatter. And some of them are loud and noisy, but gun, if y'all haven't shot a gun before, they're loud and noisy. So that doesn't bother me. And also when you're carrying the appendix, a longer gun with a longer holster and the wedge, it can actually give you more pelvic contact. And yes, I'm saying that word, but that is a true word. It gives you more pelvic contact. So it actually distributes the weight better and doesn't push your gun out. Keeps it tight against your body. So, the little bitty short guns, if you carry an appendix, sometimes they can actually tilt out. There's just not enough barrel length in there to keep them in there well. So I'm all for them. I say rock them, and, I carry them every day. So I haven't had any problems with them. Now, have I had to use them in a self-defense situation? No. Am I scared to? No. Because anything that's going to keep the gun flatter, maybe make you a little more precise, I don't look at it as a bad thing. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, and also there's the whole pelvic contact thing. So got that going for you. Now I will say, and I haven't been able to actually find it yet, so I think it's still in development. Parker Mountain Machines does have that little micro comp for like the 43X. Mm-hmm. Again, would not carry it, but it'd be fun to try. It would be fun.
They've got one for the SIG 365.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't have a 365 anymore, just the XL. But for a 43X, that would be fun to just kind of plink around with.
Well, I've shot Humbles. He's got a 43X that's all tricked out with a comp and everything, and that little sucker is flat as hell.
But it's not their new micro comp. I think that one is still in the works.
No, his is a whole complete custom slide. It's what's that company? Swarovski or whatever. Starts with Suarez.
Samsonite. I don't know.
No, it's Suarez. So it's a Suarez slide with the threaded barrel and the Suarez comp on his 43. Is a little open. It looks like a little open gun with an RMR. That thing is badass. It shoots really super flat. This is, I've been asked this, and I had an opinion on it. Keenan's asking, how do you guys feel about the Shadow 2 single action only?
You had me at Shadow 2. I don't care if it's single action, double action, triple action, all the actions. It doesn't really matter. I love Shadow 2s. They're extraordinary firearms. We could prattle on about that all night long. We've all got videos on them, but I like the double action, single action, just because, that's kind of what I'm used to. But if somebody handed me a single action, I would be pleasantly happy with that.
Y'all know that I love the Shadow 2. I've got 3 of them. Here's my thing, okay? The gun was originally designed for double action, single action. That's the way it came. Then people were taking, the triggers, and they were turning those into single actions, which you can. I really don't see a reason. I absolutely see no reason that CZ should have came out with it, because they've got the TSO. Now, with price points, I understand. But taking a Shadow 2 and making it single action only, there's more benefits to the single action TSO, because you're getting a lot more bells and whistles than on just a Shadow 2. Now, I love the Shadow 2. I love everything about the frame. But I just don't see a reason to have a single action Shadow 2.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I would think from a performance perspective, and this is just, again, we both have TSOs and Shadow 2s. I feel like the TSO outshoots the Shadow 2 a little bit. I know I'm saying something I shouldn't, and I love the Shadow 2. I'd pick it over the TSO, but I feel like the TSO outshoots it.
Well, it does because, you're dealing with a longer barrel, more weight, a phenomenal trigger.
Right.
You've got the gas pedal. There's just a lot of benefits to that gun. So if I was going to get a single action gun, I get the TSO. I just don't see, unless you want a single action Shadow 2 and a double action a double and single action Shadow 2, just for like a collection purpose, or you just love that gun. And the price point is good, but you could just take a Shadow 2 and you could put a single action trigger in it if you really wanted to. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
But because that's just a stupid trigger on that TSO. That thing is just awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Big Al saying you were wrong with the TSO. Only because I don't own a TSO, only the Shadow 2. Well, you have a Shadow 2, so that's really all that matters. But the TSO, it's a different cup of beans. I'll say that. That's a very strange saying, but it is very different. But it's worth playing around with at least once if you get the opportunity.
Yeah. Now, and I know we've talked about this before, but Ricky is asking, what's your choice for a night sight that is bright in day and indoor range use?
It's a good question. For me, it's easy. I would go with either the Trijicon HDXRs or Ameriglow, like the Pro Eye Dots, things like that have the real good high definition call outs in front. And I opt for either orange or the yellow ones. I'm sort of indifferent on the two. They both perform pretty well for me. So that seems to do well. I mean, those dots tend to pick up a lot of light, ambient light during the day, but then they've got, the tritium vials at night, and then whatever rear sight you want, whether it's blacked out, 1 dot, 2 dots, 10 dots, whatever you want.
Well, I'm going to flip this whole thing. So a choice for a night sight that is bright in the day and indoor range use would be a red dot on your pistol. No, I'm just joking. I mean, I love red dots now, but I would say, and this is my honest opinion, I used to be a huge night sight guy. I mean, if you watch past videos, you got to have night sights on every gun. And I kind of proved it. I have a video on it. I had a buddy of mine that didn't believe in night sights. So I hid a gun in the bathroom, flipped the light off, and he went in there and tried to find it. And the only way I hid his gun and my gun, the only way you could find it was with the night sights because they're glowing.
Right.
That's it. So if you're leaving it on the nightstand, it's going to sit there and glow, and then, it's going to glow. But here's the thing. You're not lighting up. They don't light up your bad guy. All it does is help you find your gun. I finally came to this realization, okay, that you don't have to have night sights. My preferred sights, if I'm only running sights, is going to be fiber optic. Blacked out rear and a fiber optic front, your choice of red or green. And the reason being is when you have a light on your gun and you shine that light, it will light up your front fiber optic. It might not be red or green, but it's going to be like a little clearish vial. And your back sights, try it if you haven't tried it. Your back sights, you can line up that front sight perfectly with the splash of your light on your gun. Even if you have a handheld light, it'll still do the same thing. So spending all the money on night sights now, to me, is kind of worthless because it only lights up your gun. It doesn't provide light out there. I would rather invest your money in a light on your gun for a nightlight gun or a nightstand gun and a flashlight or whatever, and some really good fiber optic sights. Now, can you break a fiber optic? You can, but I've ran them in competition. They're hard to break. But if you ever break it, you can still shoot the gun. I've done it on video. I had one that flew out. I still shot a great group with no fiber optic in the sight. So that's my opinion. And people are probably going to cuss me out and say I'm an ignorant fool or whatever, but that's my opinion now. I don't really think they're absolutely needed anymore.
Right on. Yeah, I'm still a night sight guy. Now I like fiber optics for accuracy, for fun range, that sort of thing, but not on defensive firearms. I prefer night sights. Now, a lot of people were saying True Glow. I used to have several sets of the True Glow, TFX, whatever. and they're decent. They're decent, but I always found that the tritium themselves were not as bright because they had to fight through the fiber optic, and it, even though you think it's lighting up the fiber optic should be brighter, really, I never found that to be the case. So I prefer just standard HD night sights, and then fiber optic I set aside, so I don't blend the two together.
I had one of the, and I have 3 guns right now with TFX Pros, but they are not guns that I even shoot hardly, and I can shoot them good. But the thing about those is it does really change your point of impact. It raises it, so it's different. You'll need to get used to that. But if you shoot suppressor sights, I mean, not saying they're suppressor sights, but you can change your point of impact and, you know, all that good stuff anyway. But I am not a fan of the True Glows anymore, and I will never buy another pair of them. That's my opinion, but I know a lot of people like them, but they're not those. That brand is not for me and hasn't been for years.
So DC was asking another good question. He said, do you have to charge your night sights before you go to bed? And no, it's actually a radioactive material, tritium. So they're going to glow for 12 to 15 years, and then you just replace them.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, I would, I mean, I would just try, you know, either a handheld, like just go outside at night, you know, when you're by yourself, or even a closet or something, just shine a light and look at your sights. I mean, your stock sights that you have on there right now might work fine. But if you're just wanting to change them just to change them, then pick something that you like. Don't, you know, and that's the thing. And KS will say this, I'll say this. I mean, I do like a high vis, you know, front type sight. Like if it's not going to be fiber optic, I would want like an orange ring or the yellow ring or something on it where it really, you know, jumps out at you. But you know, that's all going to be personal preference, and so many eyes are different. You know, like I've shown sights that I really like to buddies, and they're like, I hate that one. I like the other one, and I'm like, okay, that's why it varies so much. So really do your own research and pick out what you really like.
Good point.
Yeah, because the bad thing, you know, just like guns, you know, when people say, "What's your favorite gun?" You know, or they'll say, okay, you just did a review between this gun and this gun. If you had to pick one, which would it be? Well, and I'll even say this, I'll say out of the 2, this is the one I prefer. However, you, and I always capitalize YOU, need to pick the one that works for you because your hands are going to be different. You know, there's so many variables there. Kelvin called me an ignorant fool.
Walk it off.
Yep. Well, I said somebody's going to call me an ignorant fool, so I guess he just threw it out there. That's a good one, Kelvin. I appreciate you. Much respect. I got some thick skin.
Art's got a question.
Probably passing it. God, man, these things are.
No, he's right at the very bottom.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm still getting there. There it is. I guess he just likes you. At KS Gun Guy, I think we all know the firearms industry is hitting a boom with ends of times, but what about high-end niche guns? Atlas Firearms, Lago, Dan Wessons.
Well, and Art, thank you. Yes, I am certainly the cool one.
Yeah.
I'm the
cool, remember?
As far as how current times are impacting higher end guns, whatever, I don't think as much. I mean, you know, you're not getting a lot of first time, oh my gosh, I really need a gun. Now I'm going to spend $2,500. I don't think that's really happening. So I don't think it's impacting them. I mean, maybe they're seeing a little bit of a boom, but I kind of highly doubt it. And it might even be the opposite, you know, with people not working as much, or in some circumstances, they might be, you know, seeing less sales. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say if somebody's going to buy that gun and has intentions to buy the gun, they're still going to buy it, or maybe wait a little longer to save some more money and then buy the gun. I don't think it's going to really push people off from buying those guns. But, you know, you got to look at it. There's probably, you know, gosh, how many Glocks or how many CZs, regular guns, are sold compared to one high-end gun? You know, that person, they have buyers for those guns. They're not going to be everybody. I mean, hell, I've been in Texas Gun Experience, and they've got $7,000 and $8,000 pistols, you know, tricked out pistols, and they do sell. But do they sell like a Glock or CZ? No, you know. But I don't think they're going to go anywhere. You know, they could slow down a little bit, but they're definitely still going to be there. And of course, competition, for these other things, if you're competition oriented and that's the gun you're going to buy, you're probably still going to buy it. Yeah.
Pete was saying if Nighthawk has an 80% off sale, I might be able to pick one up.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I was going to say, man, if they ever did something like that, hey, there's Ohio Gun Gear. Oh, man, thank you very much. You don't have to do this, but we appreciate it. Any experience or opinions on green gold dot sights?
Green gold dot sights. Help me out.
Yeah, green or gold dots.
I mean, are we talking like a reflex sight, but it's green? Is
yeah? They have, instead of being red, they have the green one now. They have.
Yes, I did get to shoot. Actually, it was an SPO1 with a green hollow sun on it. It was a very strange combination, but it's like highly tuned SPO1, which was delightful. The green, I want to say red dot. The green dot sight, I was very impressed with. And from what I understand, it's easier to pick up, whether it's day, night, more eyes, that sort of thing. They're just more rare, I guess, not as many models. But I think if I had to get another micro red dot or a red dot, it would probably be green.
Yeah. I played, believe it or not, like I said, I went up to Texas Gun Experience today. I actually played with a green dot today. Now, it wasn't a hollow sun. It was a Vortex, but I just played around with it. And, it was a red dot. It wasn't a pistol dot. But I kind of played around with it, put it on different things. I did notice this, though. On their back part of their store, they have like this kind of green little piece up there. And I was like, I wonder what's going to look like on green. Now, it's kind of a fluorescent, so it's not, it does stand out. But when I got it in the green a little bit, or got it on that green, I was kind of like, would it affect you, like if you were shooting into a grass green back wall or backdrop or something, where there's a grass hill or something there? I really don't know. Or if there's trees all around, I don't know that. I don't have that kind of experience with it, but I really like the color of the green. It definitely, and I love green fiber optic. That's my favorite fiber optic. I don't know. I mean, I thought about getting one when they're kind of more out in the wild and all this stuff calms down, getting one to try it. The gold is for people who are colorblind, which I think is really cool. But I haven't even seen one yet. They're not out in the wild where I am. So I've been wanting to look through one and see what I thought, but I've only seen them on videos. So I don't know, but I think that's cool that they finally came out with one, for someone if they do have, color blindness or something like that, because,
So they can see gold if they're colorblind?
Yeah, if you're colorblind, you can still see gold. That's why they made it gold. I didn't know that until they were explaining it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Huh. Yeah, a friend of mine is colorblind. I mean, I've picked out colors, and he doesn't know what the hell they are. He's like, that's black, and I'm like, no, it's not black, but so because I've been, I'll just go ahead and let it out of the bag. I've been playing around with LPVOs, red dots, and all this other stuff, and trying to kind of find something different for me. Not that I'm not decent with the others, but I've been trying to find something different, and I've got something different that I got today. But what do you think? Like, have you had any experience with LPVOs and like the 1-6s, 1-8s on like short barrel rifles or anything like that?
Nope.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm experimenting with, and you're going to see a video tomorrow. Trust me, this was kind of my first time. Now, I've shot LPVOs on long rifles, but in an indoor range, please don't beat me up on this. Now, this LPVO was not even adjusted, but please don't beat me up on this shooting, because it looked like Ray Charles was shooting. Because I caught myself looking at, different parts of the reticle. Like I was staring at the reticle and not even looking at the target, but yet pulling the trigger. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So it was kind of a cluster, but I really wasn't checking for that. I'm checking for something else. You'll see it tomorrow. But yeah, I'm definitely experimenting with stuff, but I think I found something I really, really like. So that'll be coming, and I got to put some more time in it and make sure.
Right on. Well, we're about out of time there, brother.
Yeah, it is flying by.
It's bourbon o'clock.
Yeah, well, I've already started, but what else? What do you got coming up? Anything that, you know, if you've been, I know you've kind of done a little hiatus and stuff, but you got anything coming up that you're thinking about doing, or
the awkward question? Well, I will tell you, and we're among friends here. You people better not tell anyone else. I swear I'll know. So I did get the camera gear out. I did get the rest of the lighting out, put it together, did some testing. Oh, shut up. You know, because I have new camera, new lens, new camera, all that kind of stuff. The irony, I stopped doing videos and I bought more camera stuff, but I like taking pictures, so it makes sense. But just to do some testing and that sort of thing, and it all works. And then after I did that, I put it all away. So the lights are still there. But the camera and everything went back to where it was supposed to be. But that means the mind is starting to wander that direction. But we'll see.
We'll see if we can keep pushing you. Yeah, I've just got that video that I'm going to be releasing tomorrow. It is on the Revolution 308. Is it fixed? I guess you'll have to tune in and check it out. It'll come out in the morning at 7:30. It should be a good one. And there's some other goodies on that rifle. People were asking what POF sent. It's all on the rifle now, so y'all can check it out and see what it is. And they're not buying me off. These are items for me to test and see what I think about them and give my opinion. So we'll see. And I keep everything on the up and up. So if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And I'll tell y'all. But we appreciate y'all so much. Really means a lot that y'all tune in on Wednesdays. 1776 should be back next week. You know, we appreciate it so much, and y'all all have a great night and carry on.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Take care.